Hi, in this session we will discuss regarding the recent changes made by the IASB in respect of the conceptual framework. Just go through the playlist on the YouTube for understanding the areas of changes to be made in the conceptual framework. So let's begin our discussion. The first point, setting the base. What do you mean by conceptual framework? So conceptual framework is the parent of all the standards that are in existence. All the standards are based on this. So when we prepare a financial statement, the financial statement are prepared in accordance with the conceptual framework of that particular gap. It may be IFRS or it may be US GAAP. IASB has issued the amendment conceptual framework on 29th March 2018. The old conceptual framework was criticized for being outdated in terms of the current IASB thinking. Just think about IFRS 16. Whether you recognize the asset, the right to control the use of an asset as an asset, which do require changes in the definition of the assets and the liabilities. So we do need changes in the entire conceptual framework to match with the current thinking and the current business scenarios. The board was looking to underpin the high-level concepts in sufficient details. The concept of prudence and the management stewardship are introduced or being reinstated in the revised conceptual framework. We will discuss that in the later stages of this video series. Now let's move on to the third slide, amendments. So all the changes that are made to the conceptual framework are explained by 8 chapters. So all the changes are there in 8 chapter. They have summarized all the amendments in the 8 chapter. The first one is the objective, qualitative characteristics, financial statements, and recognition measurement. And by the way, they have changed the definition of assets and liabilities. So we will go through that in the detail in this video series. The fourth point, the applicability. The revised conceptual framework is effective immediately for the IASBs and the IFRS Interpretation Committee. For the preparers who develop accounting policies based on the conceptual framework, it is effective for annual periods beginning on or after 1st January 2020. So for the IASB, it is applicable immediately, and for the preparers, it is applicable on or after 1st January 2020. Now, the impact. The impact due to changes in the conceptual framework can be seen through two verticals. The first one, the new standards will be effective and it will reflect the new conceptual framework, which means that IASB will issue the revised conceptual framework to develop any subsequent standards and the interpretations. Now, reference to the conceptual framework. Let me share a concept. If in respect of a particular transaction, the standard is silent, which means there is nothing specific is provided, then in such a case we need to refer it to the conceptual framework to derive an accounting policy, or we need to make an accounting treatment as per the IAS 8. Now, we need to make all the references as per the conceptual framework, which is the revised one. So any references that are going to be made in respect of the conceptual framework should be from the revised conceptual framework. So these are one of the major changes that has been there introduced by the changes in the conceptual framework. Thank you.